Hello everyone, my name is Aneta and welcome back to my channel. As promised in my last video, today I'll show you the swatches of my personally assembled 24 full pans palette from the Roman Szmal paint collection. At first, I also intended to create swatches of my Holbein Acryla Gouache and had already started the process. However, while filming, I came to the realization that although I adore the colors, they do not offer the distinctive effects that watercolors do. Additionally, there are already numerous swatching videos available, and the Holbein Acryla Gouache is well known for its accurate representation of color on the tube. As a result, I decided to shift my focus to a small project that is purely for fun, where I can share with you the colors that, in my opinion, are really interesting. This will be my last swatching video for a while, as I have some projects in the works that I will be sharing with you soon. In fact, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of one of those projects. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated on what's to come. Today I'll be using my new paper pad, the Fabriano Artistico cold pressed watercolor paper. Years ago I was told that Fabriano's paper was the worst choice for watercolor paper, and unfortunately that notion has remained in my mind. However, recently I made the decision to put my doubts aside and try it out for myself. As I edit this video, I am pleasantly surprised to find that my initial impression of the paper is actually quite positive. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Roman Szmal brand, it is a Polish company that produces high-quality watercolors and other art supplies, including brushes and auxiliary materials. The founder, Mr. Szmal, is a charming individual who remains highly involved in the selling and promotion of his products. In fact, he is known to personally respond to some customer emails, which is, I think, a testament to his dedication to his craft. In an interview, he revealed that he initially encountered difficulties in selling his paints in the local market, as there was a bias towards more well-known foreign watercolor brands. However, he found buyers abroad and his brand gained worldwide recognition for its superior quality. As a watercolor enthusiast, I've always wanted to try his colors, and I finally assembled my own palette. As a mixed media artist, I have not had the opportunity to utilize watercolors to the extent that I would like. However, I'm actively working towards changing that and incorporating them more into my creative endeavors. Now, I realize that I have been speaking for some time, so let me briefly update you on what is happening in the video. Traditionally, starting from the brightest shades, I've chosen Naples Yellow Light, which is a light creamy yellow pigment. This was my choice to avoid any type of pure yellow, as I'm not very fond of yellows in my palette. Natural Sienna Light. This particular pigment can be described as a light brown with some subtle warm undertones that resemble a yellow hue, but in a more muted and gentle manner. Blue Rich Raw Sienna, a warm golden brown color. Whenever I think of raw sienna, this is the exact shade of color that pops in my mind. Goethite, and I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. However, goethite has a cool, slightly bluish tone. It is worth noting that it has a tendency to granulate and separate from other pigments, which can lead to an unappealing, muddy appearance. Therefore, it might be more suitable for use in specific contexts rather than for general purposes. As such, it is important to exercise care when working with this pigment, and consider its limitations. Quinacridone Maroon. From a technical standpoint, this pigment is supposed to be a deep, rich red with subtle purple undertones. However, I am unable to see any noticeable purple hues. In comparison to the other colors in this palette, this particular shade is the least impressive to me. Nevertheless, I still like it. Potter's Pink is a color that simply cannot be overlooked. There is something about this color that has captured the hearts of watercolor enthusiasts. Perhaps it is the way it can add warmth and softness to a painting, or the versatility it offers when paired with other colors. Regardless, it is clear that Potter's Pink is a beloved and cherished pigment in the art community. Italian Burnt Sienna I would describe as a rich reddish brown pigment made from natural earth materials, often used for creating natural earthy tones in landscapes. Again, my second favorite along with the raw sienna. Mars Red, this dark reddish brown pigment is often used by artists to create earthy tones in their artwork. It can make a painting look richer and more natural when mixed with other colors. You know, it can create interesting shades that can add to the overall effect of the artwork. Caput Mortuum is a pigment that has a deep reddish brown color and a creamy, dense texture. However, once the pigment dries, it leaves behind a cool grayish hue that I'm not really fond of. While the initial texture of the pigment may be appealing, the final color outcome might not be as desirable, but it remains still a beautiful color. Hematite Violet shade, a cool bluish violet pigment made from iron oxide, similar to Caput Mortuum, and it leaves that dirty appearance. Aquarius Grey, a cool bluish grey pigment with a muted tone. I cannot express enough how pleased I am with this color, and I'm really looking forward to use it. German Raw Amber Greenish is a stunning muted greenish brown pigment crafted from natural earth materials. It has a captivating quality that brings to mind the paintings of the early 20th century. Glauconite is a cool greenish grey pigment that can be quite challenging to activate, but it offers a satisfying effect once dried. It is an excellent color to start your painting with, particularly if you're unsure of how to proceed and layer different greens on top of each other. Using this color as a base will provide you with a solid foundation to build upon. Green Earth, a warm yellow-green pigment. As in the previous case, it can be quite challenging to activate, but it does provide a uniform base for your painting. Olive Green Light, light yellow-green. It reminds me a bit of my Mary's Green Gold, but this one is darker. Aquarius Green, a bright, cool green pigment with a slightly bluish undertone. Maryland green, a deep, rich green pigment. It can be used for creating bold, saturated hues. Cobalt turquoise, a bright, cool blue-green pigment made from cobalt and copper, and I really enjoy that pigment granulation. Ocean blue, I absolutely adore this pigment. It is undoubtedly the most stunning blue in my collection, and the way it separates to reveal a delicate green undertone is truly mesmerizing. Shadow grey, a cool muted grey pigment. I'd say this is my favorite color to paint a night sky from now on. Mineral violet. While I already have a stunning collection of violets, I can see this one quickly becoming a close second favorite to my beloved Tundra Violet by Schmincke. Violet light, a light cool violet pigment with an interesting bluish color separation. Shadow violet is a captivating cool pigment with a muted violet hue that feels like a deeper version of its preceding counterparts. Last but not least, Payne's Grey, a cool muted grey-black pigment, and as many artists out there, I cannot have enough of Payne's Greys in my collection. I was surprised to discover that a palette of this size can actually accommodate more than 24 colors. Up until now, I had only been using half pans, and I didn't realize how many full pans could fit in a so-called 24 color palette. I should have done the math beforehand, but I'm excited to explore the possibilities and experiment with even more colors in the future. So I still have room for 4 additional colors, which I will eventually add to my collection. Now, onto the Holbein Acryla Gouache. I did accumulate a small collection of colors by now, For those of you who don't know yet, acrylic gouache is a type of paint that combines the properties of both acrylic and gouache, resulting in a water-resistant and opaque finish. That means once they dry, they cannot be reactivated. If you're new to acrylic gouache or any other new medium, I highly recommend starting with a base set that includes the 3 primary colors and the 2 additional black and white. These colors are sufficient to create a wide range of hues, and it's best to familiarize yourself with them before considering buying additional ones. Although I didn't showcase them in this video, they are fairly self-explanatory. Initially, I started swatching as I normally would, but I quickly found it boring. Instead, I decided to create a to-do of plants, starting with the darkest gouache I had. This inspired me to use all my gouache and create a super colorful project. Although I would normally stop after using the first 4 or 5 colors if it were a serious project, I kept moving forward in this case. Now, I'm not going to describe each single color used, however, I have some honorable mentions that I found very special to work with. These include beige. Although simple, it has a pleasant hue. I chose this color because I found myself wasting too much paint to achieve this shade. Smoked blue, a beautiful blue with slight violet undertone, is probably one of my favorites in the entire collection. Pale mint, this will probably be one of my most used colors from the Holbein series. I just love the strong accent it gives to paintings where mostly blue is used. Misty green, I am fascinated by misty green. It has a very retro feel to it, and I regret not finding a color like that for my studio walls. It might sound silly, but that was the first thought that came to my mind. It feels so satisfying and calming. Ash yellow, it doesn't resemble yellow, of course. It feels more like an antique olive green. And just like the misty green, it reminds me of some 19th-20th century paintings. While this project may not have been overly ambitious, my goal was simply to have fun. I hope you enjoyed watching and found it relaxing. In the next video, I'll share with you another painting process, this time a more complex one. Wishing you a lovely spring, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Ciao!